Warning: the following episode contains spoilers. And be sure to follow our podcast on these available platforms.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Nocturnal Movie Club. We are back. I'm with my esteemed co-host, Mr. Josh, Mr. Jake. What's going on?
Hey,
What's going on, OJ?
happy to be here.
Hey. We are here to break down the 2025 Oscars, which covers the 2024 movie season. And then we're gonna head into Captain America, and then we're gonna go into Jake's worst movie of 2024. So sit tight. Jake, let's start off with you. What did you think of the Oscars? I think they were pretty predictable. But I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, to be honest, first things first, full disclosure, I didn't actually end up watching the Oscars.
Okay.
Like, I just ended up, I, I didn't even end up doing anything that night. I was like, I'm gonna watch Flow again, but then I was like, nah, I don't have the energy. And so I just did like I usually do. I refresh IMDb until I find each winner. But I would disagree with you, OJ. I actually thought that this was,
Oh,
to be honest, with all the past award shows that we've had, it made the Oscars, I felt, a little bit more unpredictable because you had the Brutalists basically getting all the big ones at the Globes, and then you had Timothée Chalamet winning at the SAG Awards. The BAFTAs, they were a little different. So I felt like this Oscars, at least in the big leagues, was anybody's game. It felt like we had so many outcomes to get out of it. And I will say, with my compared to last year I got like maybe everything but four right. I got about half of my Oscar predictions correct this time. Like,
oh, okay. That's not bad. I mean, yeah, I think you are right considering. I think like other than like the supporting categories, I think everything else is kind of like up in the air.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, everyone knew that Kieran Culkin was going to get it.
yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
expected and deserved, frankly. Like, I will say that this was the Oscars that I was the least mad about for the longest time because I was pretty satisfied with most of the winners from both from a quality standpoint. Like, I mean, there were definitely directions I wish they could have gone in. Even like even though even though that Caroline Fierro was who I wanted to get for Best Director, the fact that someone like Sean Baker swept so many of the Oscars, an independent filmmaker like that, who literally, yeah, edited, directed, wrote, this was very, Anora was very much his film, was a really positive sign for me. I'm glad that sort of filmmaking is getting its recognition.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. I've been seeing a lot of people say too that this could be very helpful for indie cinema.
Well, indie cinema, but also just the types of films that are going to be marketed to more mainstream audiences. I mean, last year, Oppenheimer and Barbie were the two big ones that. Well, that was last year. It was 2 years ago. Sorry. Well, that was last year's Oscars. Okay, last year's Oscars. Okay,
We're getting our timelines mixed around again, Josh.
time is a flat circle. But I would say with Oppenheimer and Barbie being such massive successes, and now we have like Anora and The Brutalist being massive successes, both quality and from an award standpoint and industry standpoint, it seems like audiences are really positively responding to these very personal directorial statements. These films that really are not massive studio creations that are very director focused, very artist focused, and that makes me feel good. That really makes me feel good.
I agree. I
Yeah.
strongly agree.
And from what I
Um,
heard, Conan O'Brien did a really good job
Oh,
being
he
the
was great.
host. Maybe now that we don't have Jimmy Kimmel, we'll probably get like a couple more fresh hosts these
Oh
days.
yeah, like I watched the Oscars, and it was so nice to have a host that was actually funny. Conan O'Brien still got it. He never lost it. He's amazing. He's
He never
hilarious.
lost it.
Right shots.
yeah, and it was his first time hosting, right?
It was his first. I
Yeah,
think
I'm surprised he hadn't hosted before.
I'll have to look up if he actually did host her before or not. But I mean, you know, he's Conan O'Brien. Of course, he's going to do a great job. This is a shock to no one.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, if it was his first time, they should have had him on a lot sooner because he did a fantastic job.
Hmm.
I thought he was light. I thought he was funny, and um, I think he was a great balance to the whole show. Um,
Yeah, the funny thing is, a lot of articles I've been seeing like have been doing nothing but praising Conan O'Brien and then saying everything went downhill once his monologue stopped.
Right.
I wouldn't agree
I
with that,
mean, the wi-
honestly. I don't
I
agree.
mean, to a degree, I think, having things, Wicked there and without the presence of Wicked, I think the show would have been a little bit boring.
Mhm.
Opening up with Wicked was fun. Even just like having Boeing there from Wicked and his little bit there was fun. Um,
It kind of goes back with last year's Oscar, where the last year, excuse me, last year's Oscars, when like Barbie was like one of the big films of the year, and they had the
right.
giant "I'm Just Ken" performance.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
they listened to what the audiences were responding to this year.
Yeah.
No, and Wicked was definitely 2024's Barbie for sure. Just even from marketing to even box office success, it was very much that. And
This
even,
time it this time it was pink with a little green.
yeah, Pink with a Little Green, even pairing it with like Gladiator when it came out, Wicked really modeled a lot of its rollout based off Barbie.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I will
That's the
say,
whole thing. So
I
it's
the
not
moment.
surprising. No, it's not surprising that they filled that same void this year at the Oscars that Barbie filled the previous year.
Of course. The part that kind of stood out to me also was the little James Bond dance performance. It just is
Oh yeah,
wild that like with the recent news that that Amazon is taking over creative control of the James Bond franchise, everyone's treating it now as well, James Bond's dead. Like there is no hope that Amazon is going to handle the James Bond franchise properly. Like we all know what we're going to get. We're going to get prequels. We're going to get spin-offs. We're going to get like very pointless remakes. We're going to get like whole mini series that are based on small minute characters. We're going to probably no one's saying anything, but we're going to get a Q prequel miniseries. I just fully bet that to happen. No one wants it, but that's what's going to happen. So it's just wild that even though it's this big, massive news that Amazon has taken over bonds, there's no real hope of anybody that it's going to make anything of good quality.
Well, I mean, I think that also has to depend on how the public mindset is right now, and with a lot of things going on in the world, it feels like people can't really go to their entertainment. It's not doing the job that it should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you don't have, let's say, when you don't have the keys distracting you, you can't help but notice everything around it. So, but what I will make the argument for is, let's say Amazon didn't purchase the James Bond's rights. Would wouldn't you know what you're getting anyway? Because James Bond movies are pretty formulaic.
There's a level of personality with the James Bond films, even with the Daniel Craig ones. You do know you're going to get a level of suaveness, a level of sophistication, a level of, everyone knows what a James Bond movie looks like, but there's still a personality in it that I feel like is missing in a lot of these direct to streaming movies that come out. Like
Absolutely.
like the Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse film that came out recently. I can't tell you a single thing about that movie. Like I can't say it's good, bad. I can just be like, these people are in it. They did their job, and I could say with most James Bond movies, they might range in quality, but there was always something to say about them. Even the ones I didn't like. I didn't like Quantum of Solace, but it still had
No one
personality.
did.
Like it still had, you could still remember certain key moments in it. You could still identify it amongst a slew of action movies and say, oh yeah, that's a James Bond movie. And with Amazon taking over, it's probably going to look like it's going to have like a same bland filter, a lot of exposition, a lot of references to older Bond films, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah. By the way, I will say about the remake of Roadhouse, I can't say anything. I can't say a thing about it either. And you know why?
But,
I was too busy watching the original Roadhouse instead.
oh, there you go.
fair enough. That
I
very
mean,
true.
I've never been a big James Bond fan, but I respect the IP because
Mm-hmm.
it is great IP and it's such an established, awesome brand. It's really made a lot of people's careers.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the Bond films, kind of like a seal of like you're making it in Hollywood.
Yeah,
To be being a Bond girl was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be a star now.
yeah.
It was it had that kind of significance within the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what Amazon can do or what they take it in. I mean, I don't have, depending on who they bring on to help with the creative, we'll see. I mean, Amazon movies can go either here or there sometimes, depending. It can go Saltburn, challengers, successes, or you can go, the Roadhouse remake. You can go that route, or the Stanton movie with The Rock and Chris Evans.
That movie does not
Um,
exist.
It does not exist.
right.
Well,
So it can go either way
yeah.
depending on. So I don't have like all hope is not gone yet, but it is like worrisome, and it's like that whole tribute was kind of a dig in a way to Amazon, and like I think them taking it was kind of like Hollywood's like slight dig of like saying like don't fuck this up,
Hmm.
this is James Bond, Jeff Bezos, you're here in the audience, watch, 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 watch. This is amazing. Don't mess this up. You could be contributing to this. So we'll see. But back to the Oscars.
But before we go to the Oscars, I just wanted to
Yeah, go
ask
for
one
it.
thing because I don't know if we ever discussed this on the channel. I guess we might as well just ask now that James Bond is back in the news. What was your
Okay,
favorite Bond film?
Goldeneye.
die another day.
Wait. So OJ, what's yours?
Die another day.
Die Another Day. Josh?
Goldeneye, 100%. Pierce Brosnan is my Bond. I literally would be like, when I would get my hair cut in middle school, I would have a picture of Pierce Brosnan and just say, "Give me this."
And I will say that mine was Casino Royale. I felt like with all the history we had of Bond and where it could go, it had the perfect balance of everything.
That's true. That,
I didn't even care for James Bond, but that image of Halle Berry is just so ingrained in me
hmm
from Die Another Day, her coming out the beach. Um,
You're wearing orange right now.
it's
I
just
can see
yeah,
that.
right. I'm wearing orange right now. Subconsciously, I'm thinking about it already. Cause I picked it out. I probably have orange because of that image, and I'm fucking gay as fuck. And like that whole Halle Berry coming out the beach thing just like does something for me, in a way that shouldn't do things for me. Um, but like it's just ingrained. So
Yeah.
die another day all day.
And how unfortunate it is, like, because I think Halle Berry was supposed to get a spin off of Die Another Day, but then they ended up doing a course correction.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Another Day bombed at the box office, unfortunately. But it did lead
Yeah.
to, it is what led to Casino Royale because they decided, like, if we can't do sequels, we'll do a reboot.
Yeah. I'm
Right.
sorry, OJ. Die Another Day died so that Casino Royale can roll.
There's a lot of things I can say, but yes, I agree that was the right move.
Yeah, OJ,
Shout out to Halle Berry.
you might want to. When was the last time you watched Die Another Day?
Oh, 2002.
Maybe, you might want to
The la-
rewatch it, see if it holds up.
yeah, because
No, I don't. I think I know the answer already, so that's why I haven't watched it again.
you have to now.
Yeah, now I have to.
It ain't gonna kill you.
Nah, I
We've
do
now
get.
publicly have talked about it.
I do get what OJ is saying though. Like my dad has this thing. He would say like when he has nostalgia for a movie that he used to watch, he used to love growing up. He said, "I don't want to watch it again because if I watch it now, I might hate it, and I want to preserve the emotional enjoyment of the movie. So I'm not going to rewatch it."
Exactly.
And there was
Well, I mean, the memory's still gonna be there, but
it's not
you just gotta
No,
new
it's
set of
it, it,
eyes.
it's like Don't Meet Your Heroes. It's that same thing. Like Don't Meet Your Heroes. It's like you can't watch like a film that you know potentially was horrible back in the day,
yep.
and like to watch it now that you have like an eye and like an actual formatted brain that works now. It's just not. It's gonna mess up the whole fantasy. I
Mhm.
say so. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
don't blame
Well,
you.
I've done it with a bunch of things I've watched, so I mean, I guess I'm just speaking from experience. But you do you.
Yes. But cueing you back to the Oscars, um, first up we had Kieran, who we all were real pain, who won for Best Supporting. I think everyone wanted him to win. He should have won. I think he had a great speech. He's hilarious.
You had the best
I
speech.
think this is going. He had the
It
best
runs in
speech
the
of the
family.
night.
Best speech of the night.
Exactly. I think this hopefully leads to more work for Kieran. I heard the rumor is
Oh,
now
absolutely.
It has
he's a front runner for the Clayface movie. He's a
to.
front runner now, which is a whole other issue I have. But now he is allegedly now the front runner for the Clayface movie. So we'll see. I think Kieran will be like a brand new leading man in Hollywood now from this. We'll see, but it well deserved.
Does he have
Yeah,
a
I feel like he's got that status before, but I think now like he's been propelled even further because I think Succession basically made him a star like instantly.
Well,
does he have
Succession
any
got
other
him this movie.
roles lined up for him aside from Clayface? Because I still haven't watched Succession. It just story didn't interest me. I know. I just didn't care. But I know he's supposed to be really good in it. I know. I'm sick of shows about evil rich people. It's just where we are in the world right
Oh,
now. I'm just tired of that as a plot point. I'm sure in like 10 years I'll watch Succession and love it.
it's so good.
Interested at the moment. But does Kieran Culkin have more projects lined up? Because I feel like I haven't heard anything about
Um,
him since the Clayface news, aside from the Clayface news.
let's see. Kieran Culkin. What else does he have going on? I mean, I hope so. I mean, he should. He's so talented. Like
Hmm.
someone like him needs to always have something coming out. Um, Upcoming, he's doing some voice acting, but no, I don't see anything really
Yeah, I
in
mean
in
he's
the
got the Oscar
pipeline.
now. He can choose his projects as he pleases.
Yeah, and
Right.
I'm hoping that's the case because there are guys that just feel like they're just stuck in television. And my concern with Kieran
But
Culkin is because he's so well known for Succession that he's going to get more. He's kind of going to be stuck in TV roles. It's kind of what Sterling K. Brown is trying to get out of. Like he'll be in a movie.
I don't know. Well, Sterling did. I think is double downing on TV with his new show. I mean,
Yeah.
which I heard is amazing. Um, so I don't know. I think Kieran is like doesn't care. I think Kieran just wants to work.
Hmm.
Um, and like I think Kieran's a family guy. I see him walking, taking his kids to the park in Greenpoint.
Hmm.
He is like, oh, I should have probably said that. But leave him alone. If you see him in the street, leave
Oh
Kieran
yeah,
alone.
absolutely. And like whatever career decision he makes, it's totally up to him. Like I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell him what to do.
He like you saw Kieran's focus. He's like, I want to have a fourth kid. You saw the speech. Um,
Yeah,
so I think Kieran's gonna take work as he sees it, and then like and go from there.
cool. Good for
Yeah.
him. And I mean that's the benefit
Right?
also of the
Must be
blockbuster
nice.
like Clayface. Like you get that money, and then you can like invest in whatever project you want to do.
We had Zoe Saldana winning for Best Supporting Actress for Emilia Perez. Expected, um, deserving in a way.
I still haven't
Yeah.
seen.
I mean, of all the things that Amelia Perez was nominated for, I was actually pretty good with Zoe Saldana winning that one.
That's cool.
Like she legitimately was great.
I didn't see it. I just after everything everyone has said about it, I'm like, do I want to
Yeah.
see this movie?
Yeah, well, you know what the funny thing is, Josh? Like, I watched the first 25 minutes and I just kind of zoned out and I just went back to my regular day. And I didn't plan on finishing the rest, but because of all the discourse that's been happening online, people are saying, like, oh, it's the best film of the year. Oh, it's the absolute worst movie ever made. I'm like, okay, now I have to finish it. And
It's
it's fine.
yeah.
It's just fine. Like,
Mhm.
it's definitely nowhere near close to being the worst movie ever made. In fact, I actually admired a lot of what the movie did. I just don't know how well it worked in the execution, which I think got lost in all these things that have been being said.
I mean, I know the director's work. He did do a movie that I really loved that came out a couple years ago called Paris 13th District. It's more of like a one of those films about a series of romantic couples throughout Paris and how they all kind of intersect. Very very well done romance film with some comedy in it, but not exactly a rom com. But when I saw Amelia Perez and all the discourse around it, I was kind of thinking in my head like there are other Mexican films I could be seeing. There are other trans movies I could be seeing. I'll get to it when I get to it. And when I saw all the tweets about honestly the main one that kind of stuck out to me was when the director was talking about how he didn't really need to do as much research on Mexican culture because he felt like he knew it already. And I'm like, dude, really? You schmuck. Like, if you're gonna defend
I, I,
culture, do some research.
I think that and what the one who played Amelia Perez, I keep forgetting her name, but with all those tweets being said, I still support the idea that celebrities should not be allowed to have Twitter.
Well, hey, I mean, Mel
Oh,
Gibson was saying crazy shit before Twitter was a thing.
Exactly. So we don't need Twitter for that. Like Twitter's making it like more easier to get through.
That's the whole bigger thing about we just don't need Twitter. And I'm all for that. Like, just get rid of Twitter. Musk destroyed it. Let's just put it in a bin. Whatever. We're all
Give
done.
give it give it another X so we can see two dead eyes.
Everyone is
um,
Blue Sky or something, but I don't even really use Blue Sky.
I'm gonna say something positive. I think, or try to. Um, Zoe Saldana is a very talented actress,
Absolutely.
and I think she deserves to be recognized for her talented work throughout her career.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, Zoe Saldana is a fantastic actress, and she definitely deserves
Cheers.
recognition. There is no question about it. So I remember when I saw
Exactly.
Columbiana years ago, and I always thought she was a lot of fun in that film.
Yeah, I just
So
found
yeah.
out this week that that was actually supposed to be a sequel to Leon the Professional.
What was she supposed to be like the little girl, like Natalie Portman?
Yeah, that was supposed to be Natalie Portman's character all grown up.
I can see
That was the idea, and then
Yeah,
obviously it took a he took
that's what I meant by
a
supposed to be.
yeah,
I
he
mean,
took a
it
new
did feel
life,
like a movie that really
obviously.
needed an R rating. I mean, I saw when I was a teenager, so it's like I didn't know any better, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean her work from Drumline to Crossroads to I
Guardians,
mean she's Guardians, Avatar,
yeah,
We'll forget the Nina Simone movie for now.
unfortunately.
deserves to be recognized, and we'll leave it at that.
Hey, look, it's always a
On
case of
to
like a director is an actor or director. They're getting all this accolade for this one project when they really deserve it for a ton of other projects.
right.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like with Al Pacino winning for Son of a Woman when he really should have won for any role he had
And
beforehand.
Martin Scorsese
Right.
for The Departed when he really should have won it for God only knows how many other movies.
Right, where like Whoopi won for Ghost when she should have won for The Color Purple. Um, it's just like, but I digress. Um, then now is where it got interesting. After those two, the two expecting supporting categories, we all expected that. But then that's when things went up in the air. I'm like, okay, the best animation. It was kind of like could have gone a couple different ways, but they end up going to Flow, which was,
Woo!
I mean, honestly, I think there was no right answer here. I think everyone nominated in animation was an amazing film.
Yeah, they all would have deserved it, but let's be honest, Disney's been slacking. People are sick of the fact that there's only like a couple big animation studios to get projects out of. We needed an independent animated film to win this, and I'm glad it was Flow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
felt like
incredible.
emotionally Flow provided much more of an experience
Mhm.
for me personally. Even though I still love The Wild Robot, still in my top five,
Love the Wild Robot
And
for
Memoirs,
sure. Oh,
and Memoirs of a Snail was absolutely fantastic.
it was really good.
and listen, even Inside Out 2 did its job.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Did its job though.
Yeah, and I mean, on it, no, I actually did love Inside Out too. I loved the way it depicted
yeah,
anxiety. I thought it was very natural. It was a sequel that it was advancing in all the right ways. It didn't feel like Moana,
I agree.
where it felt just like brand extension. It felt like it had an actual story to tell and a good one. So I'm not gonna shit on Inside Out 2 at all.
No,
It's
I'm
more based on the principle, and for the principle's sake, Flo deserved that
Yeah, I'm not
win.
gonna shit on Inside Out 2, but I will say like the writing definitely was weaker than it was in the first film.
I guess maybe a little bit, but not enough for it to really.
Just a little bit. Like not, it wasn't like absolutely like terrible, but
yeah.
it's noticeable. But
It
anyway,
was,
I digress.
and then it gets more interesting. Best director. I Did you guys expect Mr. Sean to pick that up? I did not.
I
I didn't. I thought it was gonna be Brady Corbett.
I thought it was going to
Same.
be the substance.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought that she was getting a lot of press. I thought that of the directors, even though they were all fantastic, her direction was the most unique and integral to the film. I don't know. I was rooting for her. Maybe it was more just my personal. I would have wanted it.
Yeah, I take it back. I thought Amelia Perez was going to win that. I thought it was going to win all the Oscars just so everybody can get mad.
But at the same time, I've been a Sean Baker fan for years, and ever since Tangerine, which was like the first one of his I saw. And I do remember stories about when his films would be distributed out of like the backseat of a car and stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm very happy that he swept these awards. Like he
same.
deserved it, and I loved Honora so much. Like I adored that movie to death. Julia already pre-ordered the Criterion edition of it. It is a film that, like, if any film is going to sweep, I'm glad it's that one.
Yeah,
I agree.
even though I wasn't like expecting it, I'm glad it did. Like it
Mhm.
was actually a very pleasant surprise.
I was like, I'm like, what is this? Is this the Spirit Awards? Like, where, like, is this, or is this the Oscars? What's happening here? I was like, I'm like, well, wrong award show. This is an independent movie. How is this winning everything? I was shook.
Those are the
Even the Academy's sick of all this shit that's coming out.
And also feels like
Right.
these types of films are the ones that are going to make money now. Like these lower to mid budget films, with the way the industry is at the moment and the way people are still trying to figure out how you can actually make a profit as a filmmaker nowadays. It's these films that know how to cut costs and still deliver quality film that are going to really do well. That one, and even also The
Yeah.
Brutalist, which is the other one that was like a bit of a sweeper, because that film, I think it was only $8 million to make.
10 million.
10 million. Okay, 10 million, very low. Like these are filmmakers that know how to stretch a budget, that know how to work with what they have, and still deliver. And I think the Academy is smart to invest more in these types of movies.
Well, speaking of Brutalist, let's get into it. Um, Adrian Brody, winning Best Actor. I mean, it was between him and Timothy, and I was rooting for Timothy, but I wasn't mad at Adrian getting it. But I wasn't. I got mad when he got up and started talking.
The
Um,
first actor to ever make me root for the music.
it was torture. It was like he's like, I've been up here before. I'm like, that's more reason for you to shut up. Like you've been up here
And
like
just a whole
before. It
lot
was
of platitudes of nothing. Like I
Yeah,
was,
yeah. I'm like, what? Like you're talking
it's
in
like you already
circles.
gave us 4 hours with the Brutalist. Why do we need more?
and I loved the Brutalist, and I loved him in
Me
it.
too.
Brody was
Same.
great, but like, way to suck the energy out of a room.
It was like demanding the music to be stopped. I'm like, oh, white privilege. And then I was like, then you want to give a speech about like anti-Semitism,
I
like
didn't ask
being
for this.
anti-Semitic, but
Didn't
like
help.
you're not saying what you're actually trying to say. Like you're trying to say without saying it. And then then you have Georgina Weinstein down there clapping, calling, you got Harvey Weinstein's kids calling you Pop, whatever nickname you said, Pop Pop is bringing home the war. I'm like, this is getting weird.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Well, he's always been a bit of a weird dude.
he has
I
been.
know, but we haven't had to been in like trapped with him in a room for a while, listening to him talk. So I'm like,
I
oh,
was
this is
I
like,
was rooting for Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, and I never
oh
for
yeah, Coleman would have been
to
great, but
win.
like it wasn't happening. The writing was on the wall. It was between him and
Yeah.
I
Timothy.
know.
But like Timothy has, Timothy's young. He has more chances to
But
win.
Coleman had that cool
Um,
red suit.
he did well. Coleman's been the best dressed throughout this whole award
Yeah,
season.
so they should
Okay.
have just let him win.
Yes, Coleman.
He wouldn't have
Whoever Coleman's stylist team is
he wouldn't have stood up there over long with his speech, and we would have enjoyed looking at him more.
Well,
yeah.
sadly, with this year, we'll never know.
Did you see the footage
Um,
of him like dancing on the
Oh yeah,
stage? Like he won it life.
no.
He just won it
Oh,
life.
I love Coleman.
I love Coleman.
I just love Coleman. And then the gag of the night is when they call Miss Mickey over Demi over for Best Actress. I
yeah.
think even Demi was shocked. I think Demi thought she had that award locked. But I thought the writing was on the wall once Sean swept once Sean got three in a row. I was like, oh Demi, you in trouble, girl. It's you in trouble.
I've
Yeah.
been seeing.
How
I
funny?
wasn't. wasn't mad. Mickey gave the performance of a lifetime in Nora, so
She absolutely
He
did.
did.
you
Though
can't hate on
Very
that.
well deserved.
I did see memes of people saying that Mikey Madison winning just validates the substance more.
I saw
Pretty
that.
much.
So it's like,
That's the story they're running with.
I don't disagree. I mean, I'm happy either. I would have been happy with either of them. I mean, Demi Moore deserved it, definitely, but so did Mikey Madison. I it's weird. I was rooting for the substance. I was rooting for the substance of Nosferatu so much because I was just hyped in general for horror getting so much academic attention, and I was the fact that the substance only won best makeup bothered me, and then Nosferatu didn't walked away with nothing really bothered me. But I mean, I can't argue with the fact that Madison's performance was incredible. Because I should see the interviews. I remember watching the interviews after seeing Honora, kind of expecting that she was at least sounded something like her character, and she sounded nothing like her in the slightest.
Nothing.
It was all
I'm like, oh, bitch, you acting. You are acting.
exactly. So, I mean, she deserved it too. It's hard to say.
She did. I was so like, you wanna, you obviously, I think as Hollywood, the perfect story. There's always a story when it comes to these award shows and the campaign and how you build the story of like Demi Long's 40-year career. And this is like the gift that she gets, after being in the business for 40 years. But
Yeah,
with when
this
you
isn't
do
wrestling.
performance,
Okay, we can't enjoy long term storytelling.
you do. Hollywood is all about long form storytelling. I tell you. Even I mean, we'll see. She can Jamie Lee Curtis. But like
I could just
Madison,
see
the
Demi's speech. To my ex-husband, Emilio Estevez, I have no Oscar.
I could have swore the next word out of your mouth was Bruce Willis, but yeah,
Oh, I think I might have mixed them up. Never mind.
Bruce Willis. Shout out to Bruce. But no, I don't think Demi ever expected to even be on this kind of road. Like as she set up the Globe, she was doing popcorn movies, and I don't think she ever expected to have any accolade ever to even be recognized at this type of show. And all these shows, I think it's been very an amazing experience for her. So
I hope she does
Yeah,
more
I think
horror.
and you know what? Even going forward, I think people are going to be talking about the substance a lot. So
100%.
she's left an
yeah.
impact.
Yeah,
We're talking about the substance, but we're talking about Demi though in a different light. I think they're going to be giving her a different kind of respect,
Yeah, no,
respectively.
that I mean, like what I'm saying, like it basically goes in relation to that,
Yeah.
where when people mention Demi Moore, like the substance is going to be like the first thing that pops up in their head.
I hope that she does
Yeah.
more horror. I would love to see her keep either doing more horror work or at least or even doing more Academy quality films because she clearly.
How about a mixture?
What do you say?
How about a mixture?
Yeah, a mixture. Honestly, because she has clearly so much more to offer. Like, just let
Yeah.
her keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I think people like her and Pamela, who've been, I think, very underestimated, and the fact that the two of them both this year were able to show different sides of them and show that they have a lot more talent than people give them credit for. Um, it's super exciting. So I think like there's only upwards from here for both of
Hmm.
them.
Mhm.
So we'll see. And then of course, best picture of the night was Nora, but like everyone saw that coming after the first
Yeah.
the first four Academy Awards the film got. So and it's well deserved. The Nora was an amazing film that I think is the best of the year.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll see where Sean Baker goes from here. Maybe it'll be. I know he's been getting some flack lately about how so many of his films are based around sex workers, and it would be interesting to see if he's going to keep doing that or if he'll transition into another topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of Martin Scorsese's movies are about mobsters, and no one's complaining.
Yeah, I know.
Double standard.
It's more just a trend. Like there, that's the thing they're
Yeah,
on him about now, and I'm not going to say
we'll
I don't
see.
get
I
it.
don't know. I think the next movie might be about another sex worker.
Yeah, probably will. It helps that he actually gets like sex worker consultants, and I think that it would be interesting if at least the press or media would at least uplift more more sex workers to talk about his films, considering that's the subject matter he's working on, that he's been working on, just to get sort of that opinion in the discourse.
A rumor is I think him and Jennifer Lopez are teaming up for the Hustlers Part Two.
Wait, there's gonna be a sequel to Hustlers?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You didn't know?
I did not know.
I would watch it.
Yes. I'm severely kidding,
I,
but
I would
yeah.
totally watch it. Though actually, I did. You know how there used to be a time when people would just make these directed DVD sequels to movies that would have barely anything to do except for like one character. I wanted a
Right.
sequel, a directed DVD sequel to Hustlers that starred Cardi B's character. Be like
Hmm.
a heist film, and they would just toss in Megan Thee Stallion in there, and they would be trying to rob a
Mm.
nightclub.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Hustlers 2 back in
I'm
action.
back in action. Executive produced by Jennifer Lopez.
Well,
Um,
if it's yeah,
To be
I don't know. After She-Hulk, no more Megan Thee Stallion in projects for me,
no, no,
please.
no, she was great in Dix the Musical.
I was about to say, there
Okay,
you go,
okay,
A24.
that's an exception.
Hmm.
There we go. Don't count on Megan just yet, Jay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
One, I love
I'm
Megan Thee Stallion. I'll watch anything that she's in or listen to anything she does. But having
okay.
her and Cardi B work together, robbing a nightclub, guns ablazing.
Well, guys, now we have to talk about Captain America.
Do we have to?
Yes, we are.
Like,
We
Okay,
are.
I need to preface all of my criticism on one thing because I don't want to be lumped in with all these other morons on the internet. Anthony Mackie was good.
Right. Okay. So, all right, so do we want to start off with the positive, or we want to start with the negative?
I,
I think we'll
um,
start the positive.
I feel like just for the sake of not being lumped in with a bunch of morons on the internet, let's just start with the positive.
but
Right.
before we start with that, like at some point, I want to talk about the kind of screening I had. So,
Oh.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll start.
All right.
Go for it.
Josh, you go. You start with the positive.
Okay, I'll start with the positives just because I know a lot of it is going to be negative later. Anthony Mackie is great. Just as an actor, as Captain America, he is the right choice. Like, I thought that his performance has always been good in the role of Falcon, and him being Captain America, he clearly fits in with the role very well, and he actually had great chemistry with everybody. Like all the actors actually seemed to work well off of each other. Especially seeing Harrison Ford, he was incredible. He hasn't missed a step. Um, and I did like from just a cinematic style standpoint that this didn't look well, at least a fair amount of it. Some of it. Some of it actually looks like a thriller. I'm gonna get when I'm trying to hold back the negative because I'm trying to stay positive right now.
you're starting to look red, Josh. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to say that till the end?
I will get to that part too. But staying positive, I actually like how there were certain moments that looked like a thriller. There were some moments that looked darker, heavy shadows, almost kind of film scratchy like. There were moments that actually stepped away from the CG cinema like green screen cinematography of most of the Marvel films and that it kind of had a bit of its own identity. That's literally all the positive I have. So you all
I'll go. I'll go first. I'll go second because I'm sure Jake has only one positive thing to say. Um,
Uh,
positively, I agree. I think Anthony delivered on the acting,
Mhm.
as did all the other actors in the film. I think the acting was well done. Um, I think some of the fight sequences were fun. I think some of the fight sequences were cool. Not bad.
Mhm.
Um,
notice he said some.
some.
Some
I enjoyed the Celestial Island part of the film. I thought I would have liked to see more of Celestial Island. I thought more of that could have been cool to see some of that. Um, but also then that's when the movie got confused of like, is it a political thriller or not? Sorry, but I digress. Um,
we're staying positive. We
but
have to.
positive, okay. But the political thriller portions of this film were really solid.
I agree.
I will say I enjoyed that aspect, and I think that's when Captain America, the character of Captain America, does best is when it's in that political thriller setting.
I agree.
Because even if you go back to the previous Cap films, the best parts of the Winter Soldier, I mean, Winter Soldier is fantastic.
Like Winter Soldier was a pastiche of like 3 Days of the Condor, and this one was a pastiche of like Manchurian Candidate, and it
Right.
handled those. I agree; those were the better parts of the movie.
Yeah, and I think, that worked.
Okay,
Jake, you have something nice to say?
Well, first thing I want to talk about is the kind of screening that I was sent to by the Nocturnal. Uh, Now, I thought it was going to be like a, you know, regular critic screening, like all different critics. This was actually a special Galentine's Day screening over at this theater. It's a new Alamo Drafthouse style theater. I think it's called Look In.
Where?
It's on. It's like right near Columbus Circle, like a couple blocks away.
all right.
Oh,
Wh- Which I do have to say is a pretty good theater. If you're ever in the theater, if you're ever in the area, you want to see a movie there, it's a good spot. I'd check it out.
Okay.
So, and I was there with a whole bunch of YouTube influencers, like everybody like itching to get to the step and repeat while I'm sitting down reading Marcus Aurelius. So it was just kind of interesting being in that environment. And they decked it out. Like they had a nice little flower rose setup that was all done in the style of Captain America's shield.
That's cool.
And
okay.
they gave us they gave us a lot of perks. They gave us free dinner, free drinks, a rose, and I still have it here, a bar of chocolate with the Captain America brand on it.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I I mean, I prefer dark chocolate over milk chocolate, but I also kept it wrapped just because I had to show somebody proof that I have been there.
I That sounds like an amazing Galentine's.
Uh, yeah, except I couldn't get anyone to go with me, so I was going solo.
Sorry.
I even all my guy friends, I'm like, you're missing out on something pretty incredible, but actually that shouldn't have been the line I should have led with. I should have said they gave me a rose, chocolate, dinner, and a drink. The only thing they didn't give me was a good movie. So the so I have one positive thing to say, OJ, and that's one positive thing, and that is Anthony Mackie. I always thought that he was a great actor, and I was excited to see him get the lead here, like his first time being Captain America. But man, this project really
Yeah.
sucked.
Can we get negative now? Because I need to start off with the entire film's marketing campaign felt like sabotage. Like, everything with the Red Hulk should have been a surprise. Because there would be parts in the
Yeah,
movie that were hinting at Harrison Ford's aggression and him having a hard time controlling himself. And you could tell that if they had just let the build up be build up, it would have been a very cool moment. I was fine with
yeah.
the Red Hulk stuff. I was fine with the what's the villain's name again? The
Leader.
Uh, Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson's character,
Yeah, the leader.
the
Yeah.
leader. Yeah, I was fine with him, and I was fine with the fact that it was tying into the Incredible Hulk because it actually would have fit well with the political thriller story. But it was so spoiled in all of the marketing. I felt like I was just waiting for it to get to that point rather than enjoying where I was.
Yeah, and I actually want to ask you something about that, Joshua. Like, because they still treat the Red Hulk reveal like a surprise in that film,
Yeah.
but Marvel blew the surprise like almost immediately,
Mhm.
and the marketing was all based around the Red Hulk. So how is this a thriller if we know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even feel like a ticking time bomb. It just felt like a okay, let's get to it already. Because
Mhm.
what were the stakes?
Yeah.
I mean, like there were stakes, but it didn't come across emotionally
You could
like
tell
anything was
you
happening.
could really tell there was a good script that was buried in here. You really
Or at the very least, an interesting script.
Well, like there was very, very charged political imagery throughout the whole film. Everything with Isaiah Bradley, the idea of a president with rage issues, making impulsive decisions, and being manipulated by a hidden a hidden tech genius. Like it's not exactly subtle, but the movie
No.
did so much to water down the politics while without removing enough of the imagery and throwing in all of the other cinematic universe stuff that it left the film feeling very hollow, especially with its bullshit ending.
Yeah, and how can you have a political thriller without politics?
Hmm. Like,
Well, I think that's what ended up hurting the film because I think Disney got cold feet,
yeah,
with
They did not have confidence in this
they
film at
didn't,
all.
and it's a shame. The director, he's a very interesting director. He made a film that played at Sundance a couple years ago called Loose that I absolutely loved. It had
that
Octavia Spencer and Tim Roth and a few other people.
is
Forgot
Kelvin Harris Jr. thing is in
yeah,
it too.
Kelvin Harrison Jr. and he's fantastic in it. And he like this director knows how to make a smart film. He knows how to make a smart, complex movie, and you could see with how some of the imagery was very intentional that he had a good cut in here that the studio just did not have faith in, and it wrecked.
No, they reshot the whole thing.
Yeah, they reshot the fucking thing. Everything with what's his name? I'm blanking tonight.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like
he's
such a prolific actor, he didn't have much of an impact on the
he
story.
just really
Like,
They
felt
added him
shoehorned
last
in.
minute.
They really shoehorned him in so fucking hard. Like this was
yeah,
such a like I think the thing that makes me angry is a movie that feels like a missed opportunity. Like this could have been a great film, or at least an interesting one.
especially like considering that this is Anthony Mackie's first movie with the Captain America shield, and yet he's still struggling with the identity crisis. I'm like, didn't the Falcon and the Winter Soldier tackle that as best as it
You
could?
can seriously tell that was a shoehorned in prop, like internal conflict. Like you could sort of see from the beginning that the conflict should have been kind of a build off of Captain Falcon Winter Soldier, but in cinematic form about the idea of being a black guy representing Captain America. In with like how do you balance that with the history of racism that America explicitly has, but they didn't want to dive into it, and they made it a whole confidence issue bullshit.
And the whole Saba making her a widow, I, I saw a lot of it online, and they're saying that character should have been Agent 13. It should have been Sharon
Mm-hmm.
Carter.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been super more interesting. Like that's just such a loose end, and her being, the broker, the power broker, like
Yeah.
her, it would have
No,
tied it into like the whole corruptness of the government. There was so many ways to go with this to make this film better.
mm-hmm.
But my
And it
hope
did
is,
none.
the first Cap, Chris Evans' first Cap movie was not loved. So, it wasn't maybe Anthony's, if he does get a second Cap movie, maybe Anthony's second Cap movie will be the
You could.
the
I mean,
film that.
But you know what the sad thing is? Like, even though I say this is his first movie with the Shield, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was his first Captain America movie, and it's like they didn't let him go anywhere with this one. It's like by the end, does he feel any more like Captain America? Because that scene where he's talking to Red Hulk, lame as hell,
so lame.
lame as hell.
This is a move like it didn't want to take a political stand. It just like oh we all need to get along. A lot of centrist bullshit, and it just there was
Yeah,
no meat to it. There's no meat.
there's something else. There's something else I want to mention too. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Josh,
To it.
but and this is actually a problem I've been having with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with superhero movies in general. Like, you look at something like Spider-Man 2, I felt a lot of things going into it. I felt like horrified when Dr. Rock came in. I felt inspired whenever Spider-Man had that moment where he decided to continue being Spider-Man. Like, are we just not allowed to be inspired in these movies anymore? Because even that moment where Bucky appears and he gives that very unnecessary scene saying why Steve Rogers gave him the shield, and they treat it like a joke. They just had Anthony Mackie say,
Well,
"Did the speechwriters help you write that?" And I'm kind of like, this was supposed to at least be a moment, and they even fucked that
well,
up.
it's a problem in a lot of blockbusters now that sincerity feels like it's corny, and it's a real problem. There are movies that can get away that are actually willing to be sincere. Like the ones off the top of my head are
Top
actually
Gun.
some of the DC. Which one? Which one did you say, OJ?
Top Gun.
Top Gun. I would also say the James Gunn Suicide Squad, and even to a smaller degree, the Blue Beetle. I really liked the Blue Beetle. because
Okay, okay, I mean, like those are like very rare examples, but okay.
but you're still right, Jake. Like this is a very real trend with a lot of blockbusters. I wouldn't say going beyond superhero films, but just blockbusters in general, where they're not allowed
Yeah.
to enjoy what they are, and they just have to give a little wink and nod to the audience of like, yeah, we know this is silly, or yeah, we know this is cliche, and it's like, hey, stop doing that. Be proud of being what you are. Like Top Gun Maverick wore its heart on its sleeve. Like, yeah, we've done some of these tropes before, but we know that you also love seeing Tom Cruise get in that fucking jet and breaking the sound barrier just a little bit more. Or even, like I was bringing up the Suicide Squad earlier, when they're defying Viola Davis's character and just walking back and fighting that giant starfish. Like, that was an inspiring moment. And it's because one thing that there are very few filmmakers that are good at this, and James Gunn and I keep forgetting who directed Top Gun Maverick, and I know they're good, and I know they do the Mission.
Joseph Kosinski.
Yeah, because he also is good in the Mission Impossible films. Those are two filmmakers that aren't afraid to be sincere, and more blockbuster filmmakers need to get back on that train. Like, enjoy being a popcorn film.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I say superhero movies is because like that's a point where inspirational moments need to be there,
Mm-hmm.
like in order to for the heroic character to actually breathe.
Yeah, that's true.
But now they just feel kind of like influencers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where
I
it's like,
mean,
oh yeah, like
and
we're grounded, we're just like you. We know this is silly.
Mhm.
it's like, but you don't need to be grounded. Like you're supposed to be above all of us. You're supposed to be extra.
Well, we
Right.
got, and this isn't Marvel, but we got the James Gunn Superman film, and if there's any film where I don't want to see any of that
It's
snarky
that one.
bullshit, it's that one. Like, I want a sincere superhero Superman film.
Yeah, and you see, like Guardians of the Galaxy, I felt got away with that because they were a ragtag team. They were atypical to the other Marvel heroes, so it fit their branding a little bit more. But now it feels like they're trying to force that onto Anthony Mackie's Captain America, and
Yeah,
it
it
just
was.
doesn't work.
I would tie that very heavily to Iron Man because Tony Stark was also a very snarky and jokey character, but it worked for him because he was using that humor to hide a lot of his anxiety and pain. And plus, when you see Chris Evans as Captain America, he's not as jokey. He's a very
Yeah.
straight laced character because he's a soldier from War II. Like, it makes no sense for him, and you can have Anthony Mackie be like, because you don't want Anthony Mackie to also be a clone of Chris Evans. He still needs to be his
No, no, of course not. He's supposed to be his own captain.
exactly. So you can have him be. And there were moments where it did work for me, where he was talking shit once in a while and relying a bit more on his tech, where you could be like, okay, yeah, this is a different Captain America. But it did feel like all of these annoying, like you said, all these annoying, jokey moments that undercut the dramatic ones.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of the annoying, jokey moments, to be honest, come from Anthony personally. Because I mean, if you guys know Anthony or watch any of his interviews, even I interviewed him for this film. Um, Anthony's a mad jokester. Like he just likes to tell a lot of. He can't help himself. Um, and then if you read the comics, that's not Falcon. Like
Yeah.
Falcon is not a mad jokester. Like Falcon is like a Boy Scout.
Hmm.
He's like follow. He's This is not him. So I think all the jokey kind of moments kind of come from Anthony, who was an EP on this film. Just FY, and I get you gotta some of yourself has to be in it, and of course you're doing your own take on what the source material is
Hmm.
and all that stuff.
It's just
So I
balance.
understand that, but it just didn't work. It didn't work this
Yeah.
time around.
Like, I think you need a
Like
direct.
last time,
Mhm.
all the jokey moments with the last, his last outing, because of Bucky, you had Bucky to balance out, that kind of thing. I don't think Torres balanced it out the way Bucky did.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Like, in fact, I actually the movie kind of went to a halt whenever he started talking for me.
Mm.
Like, I just felt like they dialed up the jokiness a little too much with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just need balance, and it's yeah, and I mean, I think that a director who can control not I mean control maybe too harsh a word because I'm not against Anthony Mackie being jokey, but I think that you need to know when the time is to be jokey and when the time is to be serious. I mean, we all watched a lot of like Tango and Cash and like first like action hero movies where the characters were jokey and snarky and would give one-liners, but they also knew when to dial back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony is capable of dialing back, and he did dial it back. I don't think he dialed it back enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like the kind of jokey he was in this was more like the Marvel jokey, the one that's really starting to get old.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would agree, Josh. It's not so much control, but more balancing.
Yeah. And we got Fantastic Four coming up, and this is going to be.
We have Thunderbolts first, though.
Oh yeah, we do have Thunderbolts, aka Marvel, trying to do Suicide Squad, which was trying to do Guardians.
Yeah, well, Marvel's so far is not off to a good start this year. So they got two more. They got only 3 movies this year, right? Or is there?
Three
So
movies.
this is strike one.
And look, I mean,
I'm nervous with Thunderbolts, but I will.
Now they're the mascot for Wheaties.
and I'm hoping like if the people who are working on Thunderbolts are the people who made Beef, and I love Beef. That was a great Netflix
Right.
show. So if there's anybody
I
that
mean, but like Captain America's team had a strong team too. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, like with Lee, and so that don't mean shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like the directors may be great, they may have done stuff before, but they're working in the studio system and they're working in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where, according to a lot of directors, they drain their creativity.
yeah.
I mean, Chloe Zhao, who won Academy Award-winning director, worked on Eternals. We had Nikita Costa, a great creative director, work on the Marvels.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright walked out of Ant-Man.
Right. So,
And I'm not gonna lie, I do still like Eternals. I'm like the only one who actually liked Eternals.
no, I enjoyed.
I wanted to love Eternals.
Okay, you two liked Eternals, good. Yeah, but,
No, I enjoyed Eternals very much.
but it's still a pain in
But,
the
like-
system to work in. So I could see why Chloe Zhao is just like, fuck this, I'm done.
Well, on a high note, Chloe Zhao is working on the Buffy reboot, which I am just so ecstatic for.
I'm ready
I
for
mean,
As long as it's something she actually wants to do and is not just a director for hire again.
no, I mean, I don't. Buffy. She's super passionate about Buffy, just like the rest of us, Buffy people. But I just can't wait to see what her and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Rest in peace, Michelle Trachtenberg. I can't wait to see.
How fucking crazy was that she passed away?
I know, insane, heartbreaking. But I just can't wait to see Chloe Zhao. Chloe has a bright future. It doesn't matter. But back to Marvel. Marvel, I'm nervous for Thunderbolts. We'll see how that comes out. That comes out in May. We'll see. It's we've talked about this earlier this season on the podcast. Like I'm concerned about it's a ton of streaming people working on the movies this year, and I'm nervous for all 3 of them. They're not like, and this is like Marvel's at such a crucial time that like it's like they need hope, and hopefully Daredevil just premiered this week. Daredevil has to be a hit.
Has there been any? What's the word on it so far? Because I haven't seen any reviews yet, but I'm sure they're up.
I'm seeing like positive reviews, but I looked at Metacritic; they're at a 68 right now.
Mhm.
So that's
the buzz is low. The buzz is low. Like it's not like no the excitement is not there from what I can see online. So we'll see. But like Daredevil has to be a hit. Like
Yeah, it really does. Like
Thunderbolts has to be a hit, or we're not going to be getting like these things have to hit. Like so we'll see. Like because no one watched the animated Spider-Man show.
Yeah, that didn't look good. I mean, I'm sure it got a lot of good reviews, but every single trailer for that Spider-Man series just looks very. It looked very schlocky. Like, I'm sorry, I know they're going for the comic book style, but it just looked stilted.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was some great stories personally, but nobody else is watching it.
yeah.
I don't know.
I think people are also just tired in general of more Spider-Man based media. It is very oversaturated, and until Spider-Verse comes out, I think that's all anyone wants at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people arguably are getting a little tired of Marvel in general. So I think it's no shock that there is not much excitement for these
No,
things.
yeah, superhero fatigue is a real thing. Like, there's like people are like kind of like, ugh, what?
Yeah.
And like, especially if you're a casual viewer or watcher, not the nerds like us, but like, like most people think like, oh, Superman and Spider Man, oh, are they doing a movie together? Are they the Avenger? Like, Batman, Spider Man, Wolverine, like, it's too much for like people to like really for a lot of people to keep up with.
Well, and I also
Yeah, and building on what I said before, like they don't give us a reason to care.
I
Yeah.
think people are just tired of the fact that they have to keep up with anything rather than just enjoy a movie. Like, I kind of think that the way DC is doing things now, where they're focusing more on standalone films, is I think the call that Marvel should start doing and just focus on making good individual movies that you don't need to do any like universe homework and you can just watch the film based on the skills of the team involved. That way people
You mean like Joker Folie du?
I liked that movie. I liked that film. I will defend that film. Yeah, nah, I can defend it. I'm happy to defend it if we have the time. If you want me to,
This was the year of Jokers for you, Josh.
if you want me to go into a massive rant defending that film, I will do it. The fact that
I
everyone hated it
no.
is what the film wanted. It is a troll movie, and all the targets deserve it.
I will watch Brave New World 3 more times before I watch Fully Adu.
I,
Um,
I will watch neither of those, thank you.
You know what? It is what the director wanted.
sure.
The
Yeah, I'm sure
entire
it's not.
industry deserves it. He
I'm
didn't
sure
even
it's not
want
the
to make
same
it.
film. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a big.
That isn't that the same use that the Wachowskis made for Matrix 4?
I thought they were cool with that one because Matrix 4 wasn't terrible.
It wasn't. I enjoyed Matrix.
Yeah, it was fun.
I did not.
Better than 2 and 3.
Well, 4 made me appreciate 2 and 3 a little bit more. I
Um,
still didn't like 2 and 3, but yeah, I actually have more respect for them now.
oh God.
I was cool with 4.
Well, speaking of what you don't have respect for, Jake, let's get into your top five worst 2024 films.
Okay, thank you very much for letting me do this because I, even though I do love mentioning our favorite movies, the year's not over until I tell you what crap there was. 2024 officially ends tonight.
The mic is yours.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have this little post-it where when I was preparing for our best of episode, I wrote them all down just so that not so that I could read them off, but I've been holding on to it so I don't forget it because these movies were just that bad and forgettable. But I have it right here just to show it, and I'm about to read it off. And spoiler alert, Madam Web is not on the list because I just didn't have a place for it. And Joker Folie Du and Red One are not on the list because I have better things to do with my time.
Okay.
Starting to turn to the Red Hulk there, Josh, huh?
I will have we're gonna have to one day do an episode on movies that we like that everybody hates, and then I can go dive deeper into Joker 2.
Challenge accepted. I'm down for that.
So,
Okay.
But anyway, coming at number five. I mean, these aren't in real particular order, but if I was to go from the bottom to the top, at the bottom is Kung Fu Panda 4. Like I despise this one like so much because I felt like it just threw all the character development that was in the previous three films right out the window.
mm,
And none of the jokes were funny. I didn't find the characters in any way endearable, except for maybe Poe's fathers,
mm,
both Li Shan and Mr. Ping.
mm.
But the animation looked cheaper. It just wasn't impressive. The villain wasn't impressive. The it just felt like nostalgia baiting too. It's like, oh, let's bring back all the other villains, even though they're like not in their real form. It's basically doing what Marvel's doing with the multiverse stuff.
Mm.
So anyway, that's that. Coming up next is Josh.
What?
Nah, gotcha.
What?
No, just kidding. Anyway, the real one on the list. Are you ready for this? This is probably the most obscure one on the list.
What is it?
I Want to Be Ninja, the movie.
Huh?
Ninja.
Ninja, so it's Neeja.
I,
So do you remember there was a song that broke the internet like a couple of years ago called "I Want to Be Ninja," sung by this blonde woman named Jennifer Murphy?
not at all. Not a clue.
Well, it took off, and she read the entire thing, I think, in her own way, and she decided, you know what, I'm going to make a full-length feature film about
I'm
it.
looking up the
And
sunset.
basically, that full-length feature film, like, first of all, it was, you can tell like there were so many ideas running through her head in the 3 years it took her to put this whole thing together. Not only that, she's reusing footage from the music video that she shot for this.
Right.
And a good, it's less of a song. It's less of a movie about the song, and part of it. I'm sorry, I'm like stumbling all over the place with it, but the way it starts off, like it's in no way the movie it advertised itself as, because they were like, oh, this is going to be an interpretation of the song where she fights the villain Chow to keep him from stopping the spread of smiles, as she puts it. But then a good chunk of it is like her own documentary where like she filmed it in like 235 widescreen, talking about her life growing up as growing up in a very rich big family, competing in a beauty pageant, winning Miss Oregon, being on The Apprentice, being offered jobs by Donald Trump, getting married, divorcing, finding her way back to do this brand called Go Girl. Anyway, I'm going into the whole
Is
background of
this like
Jennifer
one of
Murphy,
those
but she
That was
movies
incorporated.
that was
unhinged.
made like back when people that would get famous off of doing YouTube videos like Fred or Ryan Higa or they would have just make their own movie or like the Channel Awesome guys would just make a movie.
I will give all those credit. At least they have a consistent quality within their own film. This one goes from the 235 to the regular 1080 by 920 format. It's like the styles change. All the humor is freaking garbage.
Jeez.
Like, just if you could ever get a chance to watch this, check it out for yourself. I can't even recommend it as a so bad it's good movie because it's so boring in places.
I don't think I'm gonna go watch this.
And by the way, there are multiple edits of this film
And
too.
I don't
She
think
actually
you
re-edited
didn't
at some
watch it,
point.
but you should have not watched this film.
Well, you know what the thing is? During the pandemic, I was watching a couple of YouTube channels, and one of them was YMS, and he kept bringing up Jennifer Murphy on all of his live streams, and he was basically giving me insight into this person, and I just find her so fascinating with the content she makes. And so I actually was anticipating the release of this, and she kept delaying it too. So on top of that, it was just not
And
worth
this
it
is
in
your
the end.
four?
Well, like I said, it's in no particular order, just what I put on the list. But this is definitely the one I'm the most passionate about talking. So, I guess, and you know, the other three are kind of there, but I'll just actually one of them is a little bit more of a talk. But to get the other two out of the way, these were both actually movies I reviewed for the Nocturnal: Night Swim and Tarot.
Oh yeah, Night Swim was a disappointment. It's a shame because I actually liked the trailer, like the first one when it came out.
Same. I was excited for Night Swim at first.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
was
I
just a big letdown.
it was like it felt like there was an opportunity to give that movie an identity, but it just felt like they kept on borrowing from other really terrible horror movies.
Yeah.
Also, they're trying to make the word pool sound scary, and when I'm hearing it, I'm like, I just couldn't help but crack up.
Yeah, I just keep thinking all I gotta do to kill these spirits is up the chlorine count.
Oh man, like I felt like there were ideas in there
Yeah, like
that could have worked, but it just didn't go
it
anywhere.
kind of reminded me a little bit of when Lady in the Water also tried to make pools seem mystical or otherworldly or like an entryway into another dimension or whatever. But it's like nothing's been able to execute it because pools are too. We all know what a pool's like. We know. I don't know. I think it's too tangible. It just no one's able to make it scary.
There is an opportunity to make it scary. I just feel like they're not doing it right. And I will give Lady in the Water a little bit of credit, is that that movie is still at least fascinating.
True. Yeah,
Like
that's the thing.
Night Swim, like nope, I haven't. I don't even remember like a single scene like in full. All I just remember were like fragments.
No, I agree with you there. Yeah, Night Swim was very much a disappointment.
Yes, and Tarot. Have you either of you seen Tarot? It's about a group of friends who are like camping out like in a cabin in the woods. It's one of those kind of movies, and they come across a haunted tarot deck that basically brings havoc on their lives.
Yeah, I
But
saw the trailer, and I did actually because when I was a kid, I loved tarot cards. Not because I actually thought that they worked. I just liked the pictures, and when people tell like, "Oh, this is how you read them. These are the different things that cards mean." I always thought that was cool. And actually, there was one time because I did go to an Orthodox school. I brought a tarot deck with me and did readings for kids at school. And my one of my teachers confiscated them because they said it promoted witchcraft. And I told them I don't think it works.
now,
I would have wanted like I would love to see an actually good movie that's revolved around tarot cards, but then when like the reviews came out, they were so negative, I just didn't bother.
yeah, so when so as anyone who hasn't watched this channel knows, I actually helped work the Art of Brooklyn Film Festival, and last year one of our short films actually did revolve around tarot, and it actually was really
That's
nice.
cool.
It was about a character who was lost after her father died, and she decides to go to this spiritual guru,
Hmm.
and she gets a tarot reading from him, and she ends up drawing the Tower card, and the Tower is the name of the film,
Hmm.
and I mean it's not in the same league as tarot, like it's not a horror film, but tarot can be used very well in movies, I find.
I'm sure it can. I guess I'm just waiting for one that's able to. You know, there's always like, oh, this is the definitive movie to do this thing. Like, I guess I'm just waiting for that or something. But I mean, I am fascinated. It's a shame that this movie doesn't really do it justice.
I'm sure there's been many attempts, but like you said, I don't think that we've seen the definitive like tarot movie yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, as far as the nocturnal screenings go, this was another movie screening where the experience itself was much better than the film itself. Because I ended up seeing this at the iPic Theater, and they treated me and my friend Johanny very
I
well.
think it's
Love IP.
They
Shout out to
they
IP.
gave us throw blankets. We got a nice introduction to the movie. We got free dinner. It was like, I think at this point I'm just nervous whenever I get this kind of treatment because I'm like, they're really wanting me to like the
I'm
movie.
buttering you up.
Well, this isn't butter. This is chocolates. And it's not dark chocolate. So, sorry, you're not going to get a positive review from me.
Dang.
And
You cannot buy Jake.
you can only buy me so well, but what I say at the end of the day is what's going in the review. But anyway, the final film on my worst of list, I promise I keep it short, but I have been babbling a lot. But anyway, the last film on here is Dear Santa. Did you guys see that one?
No, that's the Jack Black Satan one, right?
Yeah, where the kid who has dyslexia writes a letter to Santa, but he
Yeah.
ends up spelling it Satan.
Nah,
I had high hopes because Jack Black.
exactly.
Yeah,
And I love Jack Black, but it looked like a movie where somebody just ran across like a bad fanfic that somebody wrote on LiveJournal or something on 2007 and just decided to make a movie about it. You ever have like an idea of like wouldn't it be funny if wouldn't it be funny if Jack Black played Satan and some kid thought he was writing to Santa but got him instead? It's like a fun thought to have. It doesn't mean it needs to be a movie.
Yeah, it's a fun thought. Like when you're like drinking at a bar and like, oh, whoops! Now it's a movie.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, whoever came up with this idea must have had a very sad life because this movie actually, the kid who writes the letter to Santa, he has a dead brother. Like that's a part of the plot, and it's actually played up seriously like halfway through. I'm like, did the movie just change
oh yeah,
tones?
this was probably no one had an idea. They had a premise and that was it.
Yeah, but it's like, could we have like just kept it light at the very
That
least?
can't have it light, because then people will be picking that apart. You have to be serious. You got to be real.
Damn, Jake,
Yeah.
2 Jack Black movies on your list. What's your beef?
This My beef is that he's proving to me that he doesn't work without a good director. I'm sorry, Mr. Black. I know you're talented. I've seen you be talented before, but clearly your shtick is just not enough.
I I think
Yeah.
more what it is that you need more than premise and a cast. You need thought to go into your script, even if it's funny. Like, I've heard people say, like, "Oh, it's a comedy, don't think." But it's like, no, good
Yeah,
comedy still requires thought. It still requires writing. It still requires good work. Like,
yeah, and a good comedy is supposed to make you laugh. I'm not supposed to think. I'm supposed to laugh, and it didn't make me laugh.
mhm.
Like, there's nothing worse than an unfunny comedy, as they say.
Yeah, nah, I didn't see that one. All the every
See,
single trailer was a miss.
we'll see if Jack Black's next two films. Oh, that was loud. We'll see if Jack Black's next two films end up on your list next year. The
Yeah. So,
2025
so
movies.
what do we got? Minecraft. What else does he have? OJ.
Oh God, Jack Black broke him.
Yes, Jack Black broke me.
But don't take it out on OJ. I was the one that said it. Take me.
But yeah, like
Well, you know how Foggy is. Foggy's been hearing us talk very negative. Foggy will
So,
shut your internet down.
well, Feige, make some good entertainment, and you won't be getting this stuff.
yeah, the
Foggy
one
will
that
also send me a nasty check.
And I'm being very generous, Feige. I'm trying not to curse this time.
but now the one that
I'm keeping it family
was the
friendly.
Borderlands movie.
Foggy told us to keep it positive. We ain't listening.
That's right. And the funny thing is, Borderlands has been popping up on a lot of people's worst of 2024 lists. I didn't even bother seeing
I
that one.
watched it just out of curiosity because I am a fan of the Borderlands video games, and the trailers didn't really nothing really did it for me, but I did like the cast. Like it did seem like it at least had an interesting
Looks
cast with
interesting.
Kate
Yeah.
Blanchett leading and everything. But it was just so unfunny, so scattershot. The effects weren't great. It just none of it worked. Really, none of it worked. And I mean, Eli Roth normally like he can be hit or miss, but I can always identify him as a director when seeing a movie. This felt so much like we just need to get somebody to do it.
Yeah, I think
Director for
Eli needs
hire.
to correct because Eli's mainly missed. No shade.
Nah, no, you're not wrong. I mean, I am a horror fan, and when he can actually get something right, like the Thanksgiving movie or Green Inferno, and he's even worked with Jack Black in a good quality. He did a family movie years ago called it was The House That Clocks Built, and
The house with the clock in its
oh, that
walls.
one, yeah, House
Yeah.
with the Clock in Its Walls, and that was a good movie. Like that was Jack Black, and it was fun.
And Kate Blanchett was in that too.
Oh, yeah, she was in that too.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels like it took either so much work to get it this wrong, or no one decided that this multi-billion-dollar property was worth putting effort in.
I think it's the second one.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Sadly.
I mean, just,
Yeah.
just
What a terrible place to end this. But
I know.
Well, actually, before we end that though, like besides my worst, what were some movies from last year that didn't rub you the right way? Let's put it that way.
I
oh
mean,
gosh.
like I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'll just mention it again. Red Note, like that one.
Red one.
Red One, whatever. It feels the same. It all feels the same. Like everything about that movie felt like a Dwayne Johnson brand extension rather than a movie. It's clear they got Chris Evans, who's been really having a disappointing post Captain America career. Like the last thing that he did that really wowed me was Knives Out, but that's kind of it. And
And even he wasn't like the biggest part of that
he wasn't
movie.
the biggest part of it, but he was a part that stood out. But Red One, I don't care if I got the title wrong anymore. Like
No,
that felt just so. Red Notice, is that what it's called?
No, you
What was the
actually
title?
Red,
The Red one, the Santa one. Yeah, Red
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Red one,
That's-
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that film just felt so much like all of these different universe building plot points and secret agent exposition dumps in a Christmas movie. It just felt so mechanical and so artificial and so lifeless. I get the whole idea of a Christmas movie is you're supposed to be wanting to. Oh, this is the time of year we're going to put this movie on. I can't imagine anybody having fun watching this film. Like the only part that was good, which funny enough was the part that Nocturnal sent me on, was the Krampus stuff because that was all practical effects and that was pretty cool. And I did enjoy the Krampus party that they did as promotion for it at the back room. That was a fun little pop up. That's all I got.
Yeah. Um, there was a lot of bad in 2024. Um,
I dodged like
ugh,
it's like
I mean, from like we you touched on a few of them already. We've all touched on a few of them. I mean, between Borderlands, from Madam Web to Joker to
Let's get him mad.
oh God, even Rebel Moon was such a disappointment.
Little Moon.
I love Zack Snyder, but Rebel Moon was like, oof, really, like it was just like a letdown altogether. I mean, uh,
Well, get ready, OJ, because I think you're going to get a lot more Rebel Moon coming up. Apparently, he has plans.
I mean,
yeah,
just
I
to
don't know.
kind of end the podcast on a bit more of an uplifting note, is there any movies coming out this year that you all are looking forward to seeing?
The new Mission Impossible. That one I'm looking forward to.
Oh gosh, um, why? I mean, I am looking forward to Fantastic Four. I'm like very curious to see like what we're gonna get. Like, I'm not like curious from a point of like cinema, but I'm like curious from a point of like story what we're gonna get.
Hmm.
Like,
There's a couple of Frankenstein movies coming out. One is the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein film. I'm really looking
oh,
forward to
that coming out
that.
this year finally?
I think it's coming out this year. But what's also coming out is Maggie Gyllenhaal is doing a Bride of Frankenstein movie called The Bride, and I'm really looking forward to
Oh,
that too. So that'll be interesting. What else?
I think we're
Those
getting
are the
Avatar. I think we're getting a new Avatar this year.
we are.
Um, yeah, I think we're getting Avatar 3 this year. Um,
Okay.
I'm also
But is nobody excited for Jurassic World? Let's get it started.
No.
a little bit.
I'm not.
Talk about a movie that had no business being a franchise, even though it had so much potential to be a good franchise.
Yep.
Like I
And
can't
well,
think of a
I'm
single
excited for
Jurassic.
the mashing of the karate world, the Karate Kid world. We're getting that kind of we're getting a new karate with Jackie Chan and so I'm excited to see the karate because I do enjoy Cobra Kai. So
Cobra Kai is fun. I do want to see it. I've been enjoying this new season, but it also feels like this series has just gone on way too long. It should have ended years ago. Like I was really, really, really into Cobra Kai when it started, but I think by season three, it felt like it was stretching itself out way too much.
I agree. That's why I'm excited to see like Karate Kid Legends, to see Jackie Chan back. Um, I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think we're getting. So I'm excited to see like where we go. You know what I'm really excited for on a hard thing,
But
Megan 2.0.
yes,
Um,
I am hyped for it. I am really, really, really hyped for it. I am going to be there opening night. I want to see the chaos. I want to see Megan return. I want to see everyone's fears of AI come to life.
I'm super excited
I
for
just want to see a good movie.
yeah. I just want to see a good movie, and I'm super excited for Sinners. Um, with Michael B. Jordan
Oh yeah,
and
that's the one with Michael B. Jordan and that's the vampire movie, right?
yeah,
That's Ryan Coogler, isn't it?
Ryan
Sweet.
Coogler.
I am looking forward to that.
I'm
That's
really
gonna be
excited for
good.
Sinners.
We've been needing Ryan Coogler again at Black Panther and Creed for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mm.
I'm super excited to see him and Michael B. Jordan be back together. I think they're a lethal combo, the two of them.
Hmm.
So I'm super excited for that to see what we get from that, and then
Hmm.
that's all I have for now. I think we're seeing what's still
Yeah.
coming out.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's coming out. It's like things that are sequels to things I've liked before, but I'm like cautiously optimistic this year.
Yeah,
There's a few
same.
festivals. It's Film
Oh, I
Festival
mean, I'm
releases.
also excited for 28 years later. I'm also excited for 28 years later. A
That
lot of
actually
horror
looks
Oh,
pretty
films.
good.
exciting.
There's a lot of horror things I'm excited for on the horror standpoint. Horror is like super strong right now.
It is, and there's going to be some interesting stuff also in the horror realm. I'm really looking forward to the Ugly Stepsister. I think that played
Yeah.
at Sundance and got a lot of hype, so I'm really, really excited to check that out. I love like alternative fairy tale stuff, and you combine that with body horror, just sounds like fun. So I am very excited about that. Plus, there's the Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Kendrick Lamar movie.
Oh, it's just gonna
I
be
don't
sick.
even know what that's gonna be like, but just
Yeah,
those
but like
three
it's
working together, it's gonna
just
be
those
good.
three together is like gonna be crazy. So I think we'll be having some more positive things to say on the pod coming in 2025, guys. It's needless to
I
say.
think so.
We'll see.
But we'll see. Jury's out. We're gonna be
We'll see.
honest, regardless. But that is
Mm-hmm.
it. We thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode, and we'll see you then.
All right. Have a good one.
Take
Good
care.
night.